Hello everybody, Keith here again. Today we're going to do my end of the month what's in bloom video for June 2021. We've lost a few of the plants that we've seen before. We've got a couple of new ones. We've got a couple of old favourites who've come back into flower, much to my surprise, I've got to admit. And there's a couple that are actually nothing to do with me but are in flower anyway, and I think are quite nice. So, where do we start? Right. Let's start off with this one, shall we? This is Phalaenopsis equestris, coming towards the end of its second spike. There are 2 or 3 buds still to come if they actually open, and there's four flowers open, one on its way out. We've got some nice new roots, we've got some new leaves. The keiki, I was advised to pin it down and let it root, which I've done. That's in moss over bark to try and keep the drainage doing something. It seems to be doing all right. It's grown another leaf since I did that. So hopefully that means we're going to be able to cut that off fairly soon. It'll make my life a lot easier because the main pot dries out faster than the moss does, unsurprisingly. Okay then, Mazda Valley of Patricia Hill. I am astonished, surprised, delighted, thrilled. I keep going in that vein as long as you like. I bought this, it's supposed to be Patricia Hill, although Lynn Smith says she doesn't think it is, but whatever it is, it's gorgeous. With these curled ends to the petals, the sepals, those. But I never thought I'd keep it, never mind reflower it, and it's putting up a lot of new growths. The problem I've got is that some of the sheaths are not releasing very well, and I'm having to get in there and fiddle around with a penknife to try and slit them, and that's not always been successful, and I've ended up damaging some of the leaves, which is a shame. But we have got a lot of new growth. They're still coming up, and after we've got these 2 flowers over, there's 2 more following on at least. So I'm not sure, I didn't spot another one the other day. So that's my Mazda Valley, which may or may not be Patricia Hill, which, as I say, pleases me more than I can possibly say. An old favourite, been in flower a very long time now. This is one that is possibly Fuller's Sunset Golden Sun, but basically a no ID phal. 3 flowers which have been out for a while are starting to go, and we only got a couple of buds to go on this spike. I don't mind that. It's got a lot of new roots, they've branched and they're growing well. This is a healthy, happy plant. All we need now is some more leaves and everything will be fine. I love this thing. It's one, as I've said many times before, that I very nearly lost. Didn't feed it well enough years ago, and it was a much bigger plant, and it flowered itself out, and as I say, very nearly killed itself. That's something I've been very much aware of ever since. Another one I can't stop flowering, Phalaenopsis mini mark. It is at very long last putting roots out and a new leaf, the first new leaf in quite a long time. these two spikes are not as long as some it's grown. They've actually come out and they've put pretty much all the flowers out at once. The last two big spikes have put them out sequentially, and it's gone on for a very long time. But as I say, this has been repotted. It may have something to do with that, but we have at least got a new leaf, so that's all to the good, obviously. What now? Another one, I wish it would put up a new growth. This is Dendrobium tetragonum subspecies giganteum. Hasn't put out a new growth for a little while now. Keeps flowering. The canes are beginning to show depressions, which worries me a bit, but I have repotted it, and that seems to do dendrobiums a lot of good. Things that I didn't expect to do very much are doing a lot better. Let me show you. Not in flower, but it's something that's of interest, I think. Oh, there's another one up here I haven't brought out. Silly boy. One of my favourites. You should forget this one. Okay, one that I forgot to bring out somehow. This is Sarnook Thailand Black. I don't think any camera ever does the colours in this thing justice. It's so dark, the back of the trumpet is almost black, but this is a deep, deep burgundy, maroony red colour, deep, deep purple, beautiful flower. Plant I thought I was going to lose. Been left in its compost too long, repotted it, and it's picked up a lot, which is great. Another example of repotting. Don't know how well you're going to see this. This is a piece of Dendrobium Frosty Dawn. Got it at the Bournemouth show as a small plant in the pot with a bigger one. And the little bit never did an awful lot. And when I repotted it recently, I took this out, I'll stick it in a small pot. It'll live, die, do something or nothing. Had no hopes whatsoever for it. No leaves. Alright, the canes are green. But how much good does that do? Now then, I hope you can see this. But we have not one new growth, we've got 4. And the only thing I can put that down to is this being very much happier in its new environment. So, there we are. Okay, back to the flowering plants. This is, I'm fairly sure, Alisara Marfich Renaissance Coral. We've got 5 fully open flowers. I've been open about a fortnight. Still looking gorgeous. I got this as a raffle prize about 18 months ago at an East Midlands Orchid Society meeting, one of the last ones we managed to have face to face. And it was one which I think must have been bought from a garden centre out of flower as a bit of a cheapo. It was in a bit of a state. I've repotted it, and it's grown on and flowered. It's not as good as my other example, but that was a much better plant when I got it. But nevertheless, it's grown on, it's flowered, We've got a decent sized pseudo bulb, perhaps not quite as big as it could be, but it's bigger than the previous one. So I think this is showing promise. I've just got to wait and see whether it puts up a nice new growth when the time comes and that spike's over. Old favourites. Will somebody please tell this Noble it's supposed to flower in the spring, not in the middle of summer? It opened yesterday. I thought I got a load of cakeys coming. It has put a few cakeys out before. Not any at all this year. I don't know why that would be. What it is doing is growing a lot better as well. So we'd had one new cane which is still growing, still going, doing very nicely, thank you, and I've got two more now. So this is a plant which is absolutely loving life as it is at the moment. Right. Where are we? Get hold of this so I don't drop it. This is, of course, Phalaenopsis pink twilight. This is on a branch, not the main spike, so unsurprisingly it's not as good as the original spike was, but typical of this plant, it's a very long spike. And it's extending, we've still got quite a few buds to come. So this is going to be in flower for a while. But it is putting out a new leaf and a lot of new roots. It's probably getting ready for a repot. I don't think it's been done for a while. So it's perhaps something I need to do, but oh dear, it's such a lump is this one. As I always say when I get it down, it's one of the biggest orchids I've got. And it's a bit of a conundrum as to exactly where I keep it. At the moment it's sitting on this table, just to let the spike do what it will. I mean, how do you actually try and stake that? I don't think you can. So that's what I'm doing. One that I have to always say is nothing to do with me, except these two spikes hadn't flowered. They were coming up but they hadn't flowered when I got it. The original spike now is dying back. I don't know whether it will flower again off a cane or not. We've got a lot of new growth, cakey style new growth, which I believe is how these things grow quite often. I think it really is going to need something doing with, it's in that peaty stuff. It isn't drying out very well, even if I'm quite sparing with the watering. So I think this is going to have to be repotted fairly soon. But that flower, it's absolutely lovely. I know it's upside down and all the rest of it, but that is just lovely. Really hope I can carry on growing. There are several new canes that haven't flowered yet. I'd love to reflower that, to be able to claim it as one of mine. And my most recent purchase, this is a no ID that the label plant passport on the back calls a Voile Stecchiara, named after somebody called Mr., or more likely Hare with a name like that, Voile Stecker, who first created this type of hybrid. I saw it at RHS Hollow Car Garden. It was a choice between this and a deep red Phalaenopsis, or a white one. We got a hair Alexandra type. And I chose this because it was a better plant. It's got more pseudo bulbs. It should have had 4 spikes, but this one's got knocked off. But we've got 2 more spikes to come. No signs of new growth yet, but a number of my oncidiums don't start new growths until they've finished flowering. My Phalaenopsis didn't, but that's actually got a new growth on each of the 3 pseudo bulbs it grew this year, so that's very pleasing. So with that, we've done pretty well as far as that goes. Have we got anything in terms of progress? Well, there's nothing in terms of the development orchids really. My cattleyas are going mad, or 2 of at least of them are. This is a no ID white one. It's put up that new cane, which is as tall as it's grown before. It's put up this new growth, which is taller than any of the leads that it's grown before off that side. And we've now got another new growth coming off the side of this one, and roots. So that is lovely in new bark and up there in the roof. Another one, which is going to be a bit of a pain to get to, because the tripod is in the way of getting to it, is this one. This was one of the 2 I got for my birthday from my daughters. This is RTH Xing Ming Beauty Rainbow. It was in better condition than its mate, but I never expected it to do what it's done. We've got old roots that have branched. We've got roots coming out in all directions, and we've got 2 new growths. So that could look an absolute picture, certainly in 12 months' time, if not before. And here's one I actually managed to forget to put into the group on the table. This is Psychopsis mariposa. Opened yesterday. In fact, it hasn't quite finished because that centre thin one, as I'm never quite sure whether it's a petal or a sepal. Sepal, I think, in that case. Hasn't stood up yet. But that's flowering regularly still. Put out several new growths so far this year and still going. We should put another spike up, but you can't have everything. Okay then, that's everything for June. I hope you've enjoyed that. I certainly enjoyed bringing it to you, and I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.